I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Gentlemen! Start your Green, rolling. In your track. Check it up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fantastic night of racing here on the National Racing Network. You saw the intro. It is time for the Fuel Premier Series to take on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Primate Pest Elimination 175 will be the race tonight, or 150. I think it's 150. Anyway, my name's Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It's a pleasure having you hang out with us tonight. Oh, my goodness, we are in for a show. Joining me tonight in the booth, as always, Mr. Patrick Byrne. I want to thank you all for tuning in, whether you are on YouTube or on Twitch. Give us a shout. Let us know where you're watching from. Hopefully you are going to enjoy the show with us here this evening. And I'll tell you what, Patrick, about 4 months ago or so, we were standing right in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, right on the Yard of Bricks, talking to Tony Stewart. This place is incredible. There's not necessarily words to describe the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
No, I've been both while the track was empty and while the track was full of people on the day of the 500. And this track just carries such a magic around it. It's an undescribable feeling. If you haven't experienced it, you got to get yourself down to the Speedway and just feel what it feels like to just be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, we're looking forward to, quite frankly, a pretty spectacular race here tonight. After 1 week ago, we were sitting in Bradenton, Florida, getting ready to take on the Freedom 500, calling the race at Monza that, quite frankly, was the Thomas Bressi show. He put on a heck of a battle with Justin Morton throughout that race. They were pretty close to each other, Morton even taking the lead through the cycle of pit stops. But at a place that is a fast, technical-ish driver's track, Thomas Bressi was a show, and that's kind of the feel of this racetrack here tonight.
I was going to say, if he did good there, he's going to do fantastic here. This track is fairly flat for an oval, as well as you got 4 90-degree corners, and each of them drive completely differently. Even though they're the same shape and you got the same straightaways between them, they drive differently, and every lap you take it, that corner drives differently. So if you have a 200-lap race here, you have 800 different corners to contend with. That's how quickly this track changes. That's how fantastic this track is just to begin with.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into how you're going to take on this racetrack. As you mentioned, not a lot of banking here. 9 degrees, 12 minutes of banking in each of the 4 corners. But they all drive completely differently from one another. Turn 1, the expression used to be drive till you see God, turn left. Turn 2 starts to open up a little bit more. You have the sweets on the outside, not as much going on down to the inside. Turn 3, massive grandstands that you're driving into, but again, a fairly open feeling corner. Turn 4, you start to get a little bit claustrophobic again. There really is a lot going on in terms of how you have to approach this racetrack.
The biggest reason for it is just the way the sun hits this racetrack because of the differences in where the grandstands are, where the billboards are, where the open air for the golf course is. Every little bit of that affects this track, and that's how they get it to change itself so quickly. I would imagine in the early 1900s, this track was pretty similar in all 4 corners, but today it's a whole different beast.
Yep, and one other thing the drivers are going to have to contend with tonight is the Fuel 5 bonus program, making its second run of the season. And unbelievably, the same 5 drivers that were eligible at Kentucky are going to be eligible again tonight. Those drivers are going to be Mike Stroll, Justin Morton, Blake Gordon, Thomas Bressie, and Chad Mikus. No surprise here. These are the guys that we're used to seeing up front in the Fuel Premier Series, and at the same time, you've got, well, quite frankly, 20-plus other hungry animals out here that want to take away the shot at the cash. Taking a look here, qualifications just getting underway here. Looking to see who's going to be the first car off of pit lane, and it will be the number 69 Pelletier McQuestion Simulations Squirt Ryobi Ford Mustang, nice, of Don Runkle. As we get Don out onto the racetrack, let's take a look at the number 08, another Ford Mustang out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. The Priority Health Free Beer and Hot Wings Show, Mitten Brewing Company, number 08 of Richard Engel, driving for his own team, one of the rookies in the series. Some of the other drivers also getting out onto the racetrack. We're going to see about 4 at a time here on the racetrack turning laps. Getting out onto the speedway is the number 12 of Matt Owens out of Williamsburg, Virginia. Nerdy as Hell Racing, the team name. Dr. Squatch, Red Light Media, the Nerdy as Hell podcast, and Vans on the side of the number 12 here tonight. And the final car that is on the racetrack right now is Port Clinton, Ohio's Tyler Dulger. Pelletier McQuestion Simulations is the race team. Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola on the side of that number 88 Mustang that's going for a ride already. Oh, buddy, hold on to it.
Yeah, these pit access roads are incredibly difficult because they are completely flat, but to get a good run getting back into the racetrack, you got to take them nearly flat out, and it's easy to push wide, it's easy to get yourself in the grass, and it's easy to wreck a car on them. They are very narrow.
So you will get to see the lap times turn up here on your screen. Runkle just coming down to complete his first lap of qualifications. And Don Runkle going to time in 53.834 seconds. 53.834 seconds, the lap time of record for Don Runkle. Rich Engel making his way down across the start-finish line. And again, these drivers are going to go from back to front in terms of what their qualifying speeds were. So the fastest drivers will come out last. We'll get to see these guys as they make their way through the field here. Let's pick up, let's see. Tyler Dulger just finishing his lap in the Jack and Coke machine at a 54.29. New quick time belongs to Matt Owens, 53.719 seconds. 167.538 miles per hour. Take a look at the 73 of Kyle Cooper. Skidmark Central Racing. Old Style Dynamic Motorsports Classic Instruments. On the side of the Ford Mustang for the Mason, Michigan native. Also coming out onto the racetrack is the number 45 of Port Washington, Wisconsin's Andrew Schaub. Another of the series rookies for Skidmark Central Racing. In-N-Out Burger on the side of the Toyota Supra there. Also on the racetrack, just getting his first lap underway. Excuse me, sort of. He's pitted behind the start-finish line here, so that's why we're seeing that. The 33 of John Gervin, Livonia, Michigan. Domination Intimidation Racing is the race team. Pepsi, True Hockey, and Pearl Drums on the side of that number 33. That's a good-looking race car right there. Also on the racetrack out of Anderson, South Carolina, Domination Intimidation Racing is the team. Subway, Wonder Bread Gear Wrench on the side of the number 1 of Brandon Wengard. Kyle Cooper is going to be coming around to complete his lap here in just a moment. Taking a look at that car as it heads down the back straightaway. I'll tell you what here, Patrick, this race is only 60 laps tonight. A pit window right around 30 laps or so. Qualifying actually is going to be fairly important because the stop is going to be critical, and you don't want to have to pass a ton of race cars over the course of the race either.
No, passing is very, very difficult here because the speeds are very similar to a super speedway, but the track drives kind of like a road course. So you can't really bump someone out of the way because of how narrow the track is, and speeds are so high, you're just going to wreck them. Everyone's going to be mad at you. You really have to set up your moves at least 3 corners in advance to make that move. So your passes are going to be very slow. You're only going to pick off 1 car at a time. You really have to think ahead here. This track's the definition of playing chess at 200 miles an hour.
Lap time in for the 73 of Cooper. 54.096, 166.371 miles per hour. That will be third quick on the board. Wengard down into 5th. John Gervin in at the 6th position. Take a look here at the number 2 with Will Roberts. Nerdy as Hell Racing. Red Light Media on the side of the Toyota Supra for the Elfland, North Carolina native. And he goes top of the charts, 53.711 seconds. 53.711, 167.563 miles per hour. Going to see the next batch of cars start making their way out onto pit lane here. And onto the racetrack in just a second, including that number 99 of Finian DeCuna, the Valley Stream, New York native, piloting the Sim Motorsports Entry 4, Sim TV, and Grid Life. Also seeing on pit lane the number 86, the guy who's currently 2nd in points out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. For Firelight Esports, the target, Firelight Esports, Rowdy Energy. Number 86, RC Cola and Kmart on the side of that one as well for Brian Young. Didn't quite have the week he wanted to last week at Monza. Also on pit lane, looks like we have trying to find him. Trying to find everybody here. There he is, the number 10 of Dak Oparka. Another of the series rookies out of Clydesdale, Arizona, Skidmark Central. On the side of the Skidmark Central Racing Toyota Supra. And lined up just about alongside is the number 65 of Brent Kusick. Out of Charlotte, North Carolina, Domination Intimidation Racing, Lowe's, Cookout, and Cobalt Tools. On the side of that car, right as we start talking about him, he jumps off the racetrack.
Little shy today.
Yeah, a little bit. Also, moving it down pit lane. Let's see. Trying to see who this is. And quite frankly, we're kind of getting I don't want to say really late in the session. Brian Keita getting out onto the racetrack, or at least down to the end of pit lane in the number 66 Firelight Esports Player One Coffee Jerky Pro on the side of the Chevrolet Camaro for the Bartlett, Illinois native. Also,
now, are drivers limited to 2 laps, or can they take as many laps they want?
no, they are limited to basically 1 completed lap. Anybody that's completed 2 is because they're on the back side of pit lane. Basically, their pit stall is on the top end of the racetrack.
I got you.
Go ahead.
They might be watching the weather, trying to see if this track can get any colder. Indy is a track that loves cold temperatures. The colder you get it, the faster the car is down the straightaways, the harder you can attack 1 and 3, and the faster you can leave 2 and 4. So if the track is cooling down, maybe the sun's going away a little bit, it could help you with your lap time.
Getting out onto the racetrack, we're following along with the 92 of Chris Matthews. DraftKings on the side of that Ford Mustang. And now business starting to pick up here. We talked about the number 50 of Casey Lakatos. Out of Waukesha, Wisconsin, Sim Motorsports is the race team. Sim TV, Grid Life FCP Euro. On the side of the Toyota Supra. Our runner-up 1 week ago in the 98, Justin Munsell out of Reno, Nevada. The rookie trying to get the car up to the front of the field tonight. Sky Motorsports is the race team. Tahoe Blue Vodka, Raycon on the side of the number 98. Also on the racetrack is the number 4 of Trinity, North Carolina's Casey Shue. Driving for JT Motorsports, Snap-on Tools, Exalta, and Raise Energy. All over the side of that Camaro. So the next group of 5 is out on the racetrack. You'll get to see their lap times pop up here in just a moment. Chris Matthews may be the first to get that qualifying lap in the books out of this group. He will be, and it's not a bad lap. 5th quick, 54.278 seconds. Off of turn number 4 is Casey Lakatos as Brian Keita moves up to 4th quick, 53.95. The lap timer record for Brian Keita, 53.959. Casey Lakatos up to 3rd quick on the board, 53.973 seconds. 53.973, going to put him at 166.750 miles per hour as we've got a new quick time. Justin Munsell heading off to the top of the board, 53.431 seconds. 168.442 miles per hour. Joe Dinsmore in the 95 making his way out onto the racetrack out of Berryville, Virginia. Steel Horse Racing is the race team. Dragon Ball Super, iRacing, iFlag, and Steel Horse Racing, the sponsors on the side of that car. One of the better looking cars. In fact, the winner of the Paint Scheme of the Week award 1 week ago. A couple other contingency awards going out the door. 2 of the 3 to Brian Young. The Nerdy as Hell Podcast Rookie of the Race for a 6th place finish. Also, the Primate Pest Elimination Hard Charger Award going to Brian Young. The Chance 3 Design Shop Pole Award 1 week ago went to Thomas Bressie. Right now, it's Justin Munsell that's going to have a crack at that one. On the racetrack, the number 99 of Finian DeCuna. We talked about him just a little bit ago. Good look at that car moving around the racetrack at speed. Let's slide out and pick up the number 93 of Travis McQuistion. Winner the last time we were at a super speedway, getting the opening win of the season at the Daytona International Speedway. Out of Tiffin, Ohio, driving for Pelletier McQuistion Simulations, Craftsman, Fresca, and Amazon on the side of that lime green machine.
Now, you say he was the last winner at Super Speedway, and I'm sure Daytona and Indy are the same length. But they are 2 very different tracks. Don't count him out, but don't think his win there is going to help him here.
No, you're talking about Pack Racing Draft Fest versus what amounts to single file kind of craziness. It's
To a road course, it only turns left.
that is correct. It's probably the best way to talk about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and how it drives for stock cars. So we pick up Joe Dinsmore finishing up his lap. 13 cars have already set time. Dinsmore, great lap, second, quick 53.496. 53.496 seconds, 168.237 miles per hour. Finney and DeCuna going to jump up to the third position, 53.512. The lap time for Finian. Brett Kusick coming across the line in the 10th position. Take a look here at Travis McQuistion as he is going to wrap up his lap. Daco Parka moving himself up to the 6th position provisionally. Travis McQuistion going to slot in 8th quick, 53.785 seconds. 53.785, 167.333 miles per hour. On the racetrack right now is Brian Young. He is just trying to come up to speed here, as is the number 9 of Hayden Pastorius out of Corunna, Ontario, Canada. Driving for Total Downforce Racing, the Hooters, Napa Mountain Dew. Chase Elliott, we'll say Real World livery on the side of that, number 9. Also on the speedway is Tucson, Arizona's Gael Brooks, driving for Pelletier McQuistion Simulations. DeWalt Tools and Carhartt on the side of the number 71. Very cool throwback to Matt Kenseth's championship-winning livery. Also on the GOAT. Also on the speedway out of Knoxville, Tennessee, it is Tyler Hensley, driving for JT Motorsports with Discount Tire, Milwaukee Tools, and Exalta on the side of that number 5. I feel like we should have seen Kyle Larson running that paint scheme at some point this season. Good looking race car as he makes his way off to turn number 1. Also on the racetrack is the number 81 of Harrisburg, South Dakota's Brandon Bernhardt, driving for Endeavor Racing, Old Smoky Moonshine, Black Rifle Coffee Company, and Meat Church Barbecue. On the side of that car, the only 3 things a man needs in life to survive: whiskey, coffee, and barbecue. Okay, I can think of one other thing, but we're not going to necessarily go down that path yet.
If we're going to go down that path, there's 2 things.
How about Brian Young moving up to 3rd quick on the board? As we are very quickly moving on, 53.465 seconds, 168.334 miles per hour. Hayden Pastorius going to be in at a 53.636. He is going to be 6th quick. New runner-up, Tyler Hensley at a 53.458. 168.356 miles per hour for your top 2. Gael Brooks only going to be 8th quick. Probably a little bit disappointed with that one, as is the 81 of Brandon Bernhardt. He's actually going to come in 15th quick at a 53.89. Handful of cars left to go here. Call it, we'll say about 8, maybe 10 cars left to go here, about 8. Getting out onto the speedway right now is the number 22 of Watertown, New York's Rob Ackley. Keeping it real, esports, Mara Racing Network. On the side of that Chevrolet Camaro. Ackley already with 1 pole award this season. Also on the racetrack is the number 11 of Justin Morton out of Sonoma, California. Driving for Total Downforce Racing, Black Box and Pixel Dust on the side of that Toyota Supra. Picking up now your new points leader entering tonight's race out of Malvern, Pennsylvania. JT Motorsports and Exalta on the side of that number 24 for Thomas Bresci. The guy who was so darn good 1 week ago. Hoping to put on a show here tonight at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Entering turn number 4. Man, that's really disturbing that I can identify those corners that quick. The number 25, a Chad Mikas out of Wheeling, West Virginia. Domination, Intimidation Racing, Mountain Dew, Valvoline, and Ally on the side of that number 25 machine. Game Fuel on the hood this week, another of the Mountain Dew products. Just coming across the start-finish line is the number 13, a Blake Gordon out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Endeavor Racing on the hood of that car as he goes quick time. 53.362. And just like that, Rob Ackley going to go even faster. 53.246. First driver in the 2s, first driver in the 169s, and he's going to be beaten out by Thomas Bressie. Bressie to the top of the speed charts, 53.234.
I told you he'd be there. If you want to compare Indianapolis to any other track on the schedule, the most similar one would be Monza.
And I tell you what, we've got 3 heaters coming up here too. Zach Edwards, Alex Viccellio, and Michael Stroll still to get out on the racetrack. That one's going to be a tough lap to beat, though. 53.234, 169 and a tick miles per hour. Here is the double zero of Westville, Illinois' Alex Viccellio. Firelight Esports is the team. Body Armor and Menards are the sponsors of that racetrack. Fantastic product recommendation, by the way, there, Bizzle, out in Indianapolis. Good stuff on the Body Armor. Viccellio, another of the series rookies.
The only thing better than Body Armor is Pedialyte. If you know, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't even necessarily hangover fuel either, but we'll get to talking about that one in a little bit here. First, let's finish talking about the drivers on the racetrack. Love the throwback-looking scheme on the 8 of Michael Stroll. He was your quick timer in practice. Out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Domination, Intimidation Racing, Yingling Lager, DC Shoes, and Bass Pro Shops on the side of that number 8 machine. Also on the racetrack is Cal Filarski out of Clemens, North Carolina, driving for Pelletier McQuestion Simulations, Velo Grizzly, Sycamore Brewing, and Primate Pest Elimination, sponsors of tonight's race and the Hard Charger Award. On the side of the number 6.
That number 8 car just sounds like my typical weekend.
Yes, it does. Viccellio going to be the first car of this group to cross the line. He's going to move up to 3rd quick on the board. Here is Mike Stroll making his way down the front stretch to complete his qualification lap. Viccellio's lap time 53.342. Mike Stroll going to move him down 1 spot, 53.253. And the last car to cross the line in qualifications will be Cal Filarski. We'll take a look here, but I think Filarski may not have scored a lap time. May have had an incident there on his lap. Wow, how's that for a gut punch? Yeah, Cal Filarski will not score a lap time. Mike Stroll's lap time of 53.253, 169.005 miles per hour. But that means our pole sitter tonight will be the number 24 of Thomas Bressie. 53.234 seconds, 169.065 miles per hour. He will claim the Chance 3 Design Shop Pole Award here at Indianapolis this evening. take a look and see if we can sneak in a quick word here with Mr. Bressi. All right, Thomas Bressi, congratulations picking up a Chance 3 Design Shop Pole Award for the second week in a row. The car was good at Monza. You must be feeling pretty good here tonight.
Yeah, I was looking forward to coming back here. I was really like Indy, and just last time we were here, unfortunately, we had some rain like we did a couple weeks ago, unfortunately, so we didn't even get to run the race. But looking forward to it tonight. Got a good car. I feel pretty confident with my long run pace from practice. So yeah, just looking forward to getting things going here.
Patrick has described this racetrack as an oval that thinks it's a road course, drives like a road course, whatever you want to call it. Does any of the experience that we had last week at Monza transfer over here to the Speedway?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, I could see it. I personally don't have that kind of mentality. I think it's very important here to just be very precise with what you're doing and where you're putting the car, which I guess is kind of where the road course correlations come from. But yeah, you just got to be real careful and just kind of pace yourself, take care of yourself, and if you're in traffic, be smart, things like that. So yeah, there's definitely some parallels to draw there for sure. But I think this is it's Indy. It's kind of its own special place.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly here. Well, congratulations once again on picking up a Chance 3 Pole Award, your second of the season, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the race.
So there you go. There's Thomas Bressi. And Patrick, we had to get him out of here before we start talking numbers a little bit here, as qualifications are finishing up in the next 15 seconds or so. This is race.
You don't want to give away the trade secrets to him.
That is correct. This is race number 3 for the series at Indianapolis, but they've only ever run the Cup cars here. The most recent race dates back to 2019. So we're going to have a new winner once again. The track record now belongs to Thomas Bressi. We'll see if that lap falls over the course of the race. But the biggest one to me is that they average 5 cautions per race. About 17 laps or so. If you know that the math is going to work out so that you're, we'll say, spitballing things pretty close to halfway on fuel, kind of locks in a one-stop strategy here.
I disagree. If you know we're going to get some cautions, you could get away with a 2-stopper and have fresher tires in the car. You break it up, pit on lap 20, lap 40, and then that'll bring you to the end of the race, if you get the cautions timed right.
That's true. There's going to be a lot of strategy games that come into play here, and let's take a look at your starting lineup here as the field's going to get ready to roll off. Starting on the pole out of Malvern, Pennsylvania, will be Thomas Bressi. Lining up to his outside from Watertown, New York, it is Rob Ackley. Roll number 2 will have Mike Stroll in the number 8 out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Lining up to his outside, Westville, Illinois, Alex Ficellio. Row number 3, starting on the inside, will be the 11 of Sonoma, California's Justin Morton. And to his outside will be the number 13 of Blake Gordon. Row number 4, Chad Mikas and Justin Munsell. Row 5, Tyler Hensley and Brian Young. Joe Dinsmore and Finian DeCuna will occupy row number 6 here this evening. Row 7, Hayden Pastorius and Will Roberts. Gael Brooks and Matt Owens on row number 8. Row 9, Daco Parka and Casey Shue. Row 10, Travis McQuistion and Casey Lakatos. Row 11, Don Runkle Jr. and Brandon Bernhardt. Row number 12, Brian Keita lines up on the inside of the 23rd position, and to his outside will be Brent Kusick. Kyle Cooper and Chris Matthews on row number 13. Row 14, Tyler Dulger and Brandon Wengard. John Gervin and Rich Engel on row 15. Row 16, Andrew Schaub and Cal Filarski. Rounding out the field in the 33rd position will be Zach Edwards. 33 cars scheduled to go for 60 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And as always, race fans, the start of this one is going to be all yours. How about the three wide battles there early in this race? Blake Gordon, Rob Ackley, Chad Mikas all fighting for position. Good Lord. 2 wide is a tough ask here at the Speedway. Bizzle, 3 wide, somewhere between not bright and kind of dumb?
Yeah, 3 wide is not doable in anything faster than a Formula V here.
Yes, well, I was going to say, we have seen the PM18s run quite a bit here, but looks like we're going to try it again. 3 wide into turn number 3. McQuistion to the inside. Daco Park and Casey Shue involved in that fight. They're going to get it all sort of single-filed out. Behind McQuistion, Shue and Oparka still side by side. That is significantly more doable here. Now that we've gotten a couple laps in the books, I would imagine drivers starting to feel that the pressures come up in the tires, start to settle yourself in a little bit, unless you're towards the back of the field and you feel like you have to make up a ton of time.
Not only that, being in the back of the field here is rough. There is so much aero push to be had at this track just because of how not banked it is. This track is so flat, the car just wants to go straight into the outside wall. It does not want to turn around these corners.
Thomas Bressi with the fastest lap of the race last time by at a 53.43. The guy who's now leading the point standings after his performance 1 week ago, tightening things up in a big way on the bonus points front as well. We're starting to see some drivers that are putting themselves towards the front because of bonus points, and that's coming down to things like where you finish in qualifying, halfway bonus points. Clean races also award bonus points, I believe. That's sort of where you're talking about some of the games that come into play that you can put yourself in championship position without having to win week in and week out.
Yeah, you just have to be consistent and just make sure you get those halfway points. Should be pretty well off when it comes to championship time.
The 13 of Blake Gordon having to get up the racetrack a little bit. He's side by side with Rob Ackley. Going to have to go high again through 3 and 4. Big drive down to the inside for the 25 of Chad Mikas. He's trying to make up a little ground as well here. Everybody about running where they started this race. Only a couple of drivers have seen some significant drops. One of those is Rob Ackley, who's down 3 after starting on the outside of the front row this evening. Don Runkle down 3 spots. Daco Parka down a couple other drivers up 1 or 2, but not really a surprise here where people are going to kind of just settle themselves in. we talk about some places we go to that laps go by in a big-time hurry. At Indianapolis, they just don't. This is a 60-lap race that is going to run every bit of 60 minutes, if not a little bit longer.
No, I remember when I was at Indy, I went down to the food cart, stood in a line of about 190,000 people just to get a hot dog, and I came back, sat in my seat after what felt like 3.5 hours, and 10 laps had passed by, and those were Indy cars we're talking about. These B-class stock cars don't nearly go that fast, so laps do take forever around this track.
Once again, for everybody who's watching here, check into the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Give us your picks to win the race. We do want to be interactive here and talk to you guys as much as we can. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in on Twitch here as well. Back in the pack, Will Roberts coming around, Gael Brooks into turn number 1. That's more the type of pass we're accustomed to seeing. You know the guy's going to be faster than you on corner entry. Just breathe the throttle a little bit and let him through because, you know, the whole juice isn't worth the squeeze kind of deal. Why put up a fight this early?
Because it's so hard to get that spot back. It's very, very easy here to make the pass very difficult. You just got to run your line, sit there at the bottom, have him try and beat you off the exit and go down the long straight. Don't block him if he gets the run on you. But if you're holding that inside line, it's very hard for them to get the run on you.
Pick up Rob Ackley, Blake Gordon, Chad Mikas, and Justin Munsell. They're running as a nice little 4-car train down the front stretch. After, let me see, I'm going to have to go back through the schedule here to see who this was. But after our, well, we'll say rain out at the Kentucky Speedway, that was Blake Gordon getting the win and claiming the Fuel 5 bonus money. Going to have a shot for somebody else to pick up a little bit of cash tonight. Thomas Bresci is one of those drivers and eligible as your race leader. Mike Stroll running second. He's a Fuel 5 driver. Justin Morton running third is a Fuel 5 driver. Fourth place, Alex Ficellio is not. And neither is Rob Ackley. The others, Chad Mikas currently running in the 7th position. And Blake Gordon running 6th. So these guys are all kind of right there near the top. And, well, I guess it's not a surprise. These guys are up towards the front in the point standings, kind of doing what they need to do here to claim both the end-of-season cash and the bonuses that we have over the season as well.
Yeah, I really like that they're doing this for the drivers, and it really shines a light on those 5 drivers and really forces us to watch them and forces them to put on a show for us since our eyes are on them. It really makes for a fun night of racing.
At the front of the field, Thomas Bresci trying to stink the show up again. Currently leading by nearly 1 second over Mike Stroll. We'll show you the gaps there as the race leaders make their way off of turn number 2 down the 5/8 of a mile back straightaway. One of those deals that it seems so incredibly long when you're riding along at 20, 25 miles an hour on a tour bus. It really does give a sense of just how big the place is, though, as we see Blake Gordon battling with Chad Mikas. Mikas down to the inside, Gordon up on the outside of the racetrack. It's hard to state how big the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is.
You can stand at one exit you can stand at the exit of turn 4, and turn 1 looks like it's miles down the road. It's pretty close to being a mile down the road. It's immense how huge this straightaway is, and how huge the whole track is.
Yeah, you see the graphics every year come Indy 500 time of what can fit inside of the infield at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The entirety of Vatican City can fit, along with a multiple of other things.
I mean, they have a 4-hole golf course, golf course inside this track.
Yes, 4
as
holes
well as
of
the 8. There's total 18.
Yes, the Brickyard Crossing has 4 holes in the infield. There's the Indy Road Course. There's also the dirt track now in Turn 3. Turn 3 now hosts a BMW Experience Center, a dirt track, and the Snake Pit concert venue inside of one corner of this racetrack. Absolutely incredible. Slide back a little bit here. Let's pick up Will Roberts, Matt Owens, Casey Shue, and yeah, Casey Lacato's going to be just a tick back there as well. Travis McCuistion just ahead of them.
I mean, let's not forget to mention, this track has so many seats around it, and they get filled up, or almost filled up, every year for either the NASCAR race or the Indy race. When a race is going on, it makes Speedway Indianapolis one of the larger cities in the country.
The second largest city in Indiana, and not by much, to the great city of Indianapolis on race day. It's about 2/3 the population of the entire city of Indianapolis fits into the Speedway on race day. Pretty incredible, but now we're looking here, Patrick, lap 13, you almost have to start thinking pit stops a little bit here, because if we get the caution, you're not necessarily going to be able to make it to the end, but you're getting to a window where that becomes a possibility.
I was going to say, if I were running this race with these guys, I would be on a 2-stop strategy. And the window for a 2-stop strategy opens up right about now and closes right about lap 25, 26-ish. So I would definitely be thinking about it and get ready to come down if that's what you're thinking.
It's an interesting call that you're making there. What makes you say a 2-stop strategy? Because pit lane is so long, you have to use the access road getting off of pit lane. There's a lot to making a pit stop, a lot of time lost if you have to make the stop under green. Or do you have to keep 2 strategies in your head?
I would say keep the 2. I like the 2-stop strategy because it is safer, as well as if you do get that late race caution, or even a caution right after you go down the pits, you're now in the good. You're not going to go a lap down taking a pit stop under green here unless you're way behind the front. So take those tires, caution comes out, everyone else is going to pit. So you're now in front of all of them with tires just as fresh as they have, and with how hard it is to pass you, you're ahead of all those guys. Now they have to work to pass you, and you can stay right where you are nice and happy.
It is an interesting call for sure, because
it's a gamble, but it's a gamble the same way as sitting right where you are and trying that 1-stop strategy is. One's higher risk, higher reward. The other one is play it safe, and we'll finish pretty close to where we're sitting right now.
Well, and there is something to be said for the gain in lap times. We're only 15 laps into the run, and lap times are off by right about 2 seconds per lap. That's not a little change. You can make up a lot of ground with some fresh sneakers on the car. I just wonder how much can you make up. It almost feels like, where is that cliff? Like, if you're only going to get 10 laps out of it, maybe you have to wait closer to 20 or 25 if you're going to try the 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, but that would be more in considering it an undercut territory instead of a 2-stop strategy territory. If you're pitting that much closer to the 1-stop window, yes, you're going to need that second stop, but only if there's not another caution. Only if there's not another caution. So at that point, I would just consider that an undercut, and that is where you're really going to pick up a ton of time. If you're going to just try that risk of pitting just before the one-stop window.
Oh, man, these guys are trying to cause the caution here at lap number 16. And that's the other thing is if you get the caution, that really changes the way the game is going to get played here because as we see Justin Morton and Rob Ackley battling, Ackley down to the inside of the racetrack, he will easily claim the third position. You don't want to be the caution, but sometimes maybe you do breathe a little sigh of relief here and go, okay, if we get a caution now, I'll be stopping at lap 18 or 19. Puts us in the ballpark to have some fun strategy-wise.
Now, in both NASCAR and IndyCar world, how many times in the last decade alone have we seen a timely caution bring out another crazy strategy where someone wins with half a gallon of fuel left in the tank? That's just what this track brings, and it's always fantastic.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you sort of have to consider, especially the possibility of a green-white checkered. That's the only one that, and I guess the two-stop strategy does put you to the good there. If you make it at lap 20, lap 40, that gets you, if you need to go 30 laps, that builds you that little bit of a window that you may need for a green-white checkered as well.
I wouldn't count on a green-white checker here, only because cautions here aren't usually caused by hard racing like we're seeing right now. Cautions here are usually someone just hitting the outside wall or someone spinning or someone going through that grass and spinning. There's usually not huge wrecks like we see at the other super speedways. So, a caution's only going to come out if someone makes a major mistake.
Tell you what, though, the racing action has been pretty good throughout the field here. Let's see. This is Finian DeCuna, Hayden Pastorius, Brian Young, and Joe Dinsmore that we're following along with. 10th through 13th place on the racetrack right now. And, man, I'll tell you what, it is now 2 seconds that Thomas Bresci has over Mike Stroll at the front of the field. It's another, gosh, almost full second, 3/4 of a second or so between Stroll and Rob Ackley for third. This is, I guess, where leaders now can decide what pace they're going to run and what's going to be most effective for them. Man, I tell you what, Will Roberts has a handful right now. That red light media number 2 falling back, and we've got cars on pit lane. Absolutely nailing the call here, Patrick. The 98 of Justin Munsell, car looks like it's seen a bit of the outside safer barrier. See a little bit of scrapage down there, just a touch. But Munsell's going to come in and hit his box.
If any of these drivers have this broadcast on in their background and are listening to me for strategy advice, I am not responsible for you finishing dead last in this race. I just want to make that clear right now. For legal reasons, I am not a crew chief.
Yeah, for a multitude of reasons. Justin Munsell down and away off pit lane, 15.85 seconds the time of the stop. Here comes Rob Ackley, Blake Gordon, Alex Ficellio, Finian DeCuna. Several cars coming down pit lane. I'll tell you what, either you're not as dumb as you look or everybody is listening to the broadcast.
I used to do some crew chief work a couple years ago. Like, I kind of know what I'm talking about. A little bit, sometimes.
Barely. Seeing the 22 of Ackley hit his box on pit lane. Man, we've got about a third of the field on pit lane right now. Crew already getting around to the left-hand side of the race car for the 22 of Ackley. 4 fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans Sunoco fuel going into that car. He is down and away. The Mara Racing Network Chevrolet Camaro back out onto the racetrack. Here comes Mike Stroll and Chad Mikus down pit lane. I tell you what, color me absolutely floored that the two-strap strategy is the direction these guys are going. And do we see Thomas Bressi try to make this a one-stop? It could be worth it.
It's looking that way, and he has the win. He can take some risks. So I say, why not? Go for the one stop. Do the opposite of what the majority has done. The majority now has taken my advice for some reason. So do the opposite of that. It might work out for you and get you another win. It might not work out for you, and you're fast enough to go and get yourself a top 10 anyway. So it's a win-win scenario either way.
Well, there you go. Thomas Bressi, race leader, making his way down pit lane here at lap number 22.
I would also say staying out to the halfway point might be an effort to try and get some of those halfway point bonuses. I wasn't even thinking about that part. I wasn't thinking about the long game in that.
Yeah, and it's not a small number either. I want to say it's either 5 or 10 points to the driver leading at the halfway point. That's a quarter of a race tally. So if you're Justin Morton, Tyler Hensley, you want to try to pick up some bonus points, could be worth it, and you're potentially making one less pit stop. One of the big things, though, here, Patrick, is that Indy is so big, you don't go a lap down making a green flag pit stop.
No, you don't. But staying out there, it's for Thomas Bressi, for example, it's going to take him at least 7, 8, 9 laps to get back up to the front. So staying out, if you know you're not going to win the race, at least gives you those bonus points, and then you can make your pit stop and stick that one-stop strategy and hope that works out for you if you know this is not a track you're talented at. Indy, or if you have the Indy curse. I am very talented at Indy. I can go out there, lead a bunch of laps, and usually 3/4 of the race or on the last lap, something terrible will happen to me. I'll J.R. Hildebrand it right into the wall in turn 4, or I'll do something like that. This track just will not let me win. As we have a car that just looks like it hit the inside wall coming into pit lane.
That may have been Chris Matthews getting a piece of the inside safer barrier. And I tell you what, same deal we saw 1 week ago, Patrick. Thomas Bressi had a pretty sizable lead that he gave back on pit lane. Rob Ackley is your effective leader of the race right now. What was a 2-second lead is now sitting at about a 1/4 of a second deficit for Thomas Bressi. And Mike Stroll, Blake Gordon have both caught back up. All 4 of these cars now running nose to tail.
Yeah, this is really when you see the undercut come into play. However, with another stop in this race, I almost want to take the overcut just because they're going to be faster than you right now and they're going to get that time on you. But you're going to pick that right back up on the back end of it. So as long as you save your tires and keep a reasonable pace, you'll get that time back on the back end.
Wondering what the lap times were going to look like. How about 56:32, the last lap time for race leader Justin Morton? The cars that stopped, Rob Ackley, Thomas Bressi, in the 53-second range. At this point, unless you're trying for that halfway bonus, you've got to get down pit road and do it immediately. Perfect case example here. Will Roberts, we saw that car fall back through the field at the start of this race. He's right now sitting in 3rd, 4 laps shy of the halfway bonuses. Battle for the lead into 1. Bressi and Ackley going to go side by side. Ackley slots right back in line. Called about a half car length ahead of Stroll. Blake Gordon going to be tucked up there as well. If you're Mike Stroll, now you got to kind of get a move on here, though. You don't want to give up. You already lost 2 seconds to Bressi the last time we had a long green flag run. You don't want to give up that time again.
No, 2 seconds is hard enough to pick up, but if he gets that 4 seconds on you, you're done.
Bressie around to the 69 squirt machine of Don Runkle. Runkle going to make his way down pit lane. Justin Morton staying out. I love the strategy call here from, I mean, Morton's only up 4. He was in the top 5, but Will Roberts up 12. Cal Filarski, let's pick him up. Team sponsoring the race tonight, serving Los Angeles County, is Primate Pest Elimination. Got to say a huge thank you to those guys, and happy birthday, Matt, the owner of Primate Pest Elimination. Hopefully you're tuned in and enjoying the show. The car looks spectacular. Filarski making his way down pit road. I almost wonder, can these guys not make it 30 laps? And that's going to be tight on if that one's a penalty.
Not only that, he almost hit that inside wall. He almost hit the pit wall too, man.
Almost hit the pit wall. Yeah, and he's got to back up. He was too far into the left-hand side of the box. That one's going to hurt.
Hey, director, we got to get off of this car, man. We're bad luck for him.
Yeah, really. The commentator's curse strikes in a big way to Cal Filarski. Sorry, Cal. And Justin Morton is in. This answers the question, I think, that you can't go 30 laps.
So what you're saying is my two-stop strategy I called to pit in between 13 and 26 is the optimal strategy?
Maybe, because, and this is where the maybe part comes into play, if we go green the entire way, which we did last week at Monza, you're talking about a second stop that is an absolute splash and dash for some of these guys. And
Yes.
Will Roberts has gone, he's still out on the racetrack and has not stopped yet.
The majority of your time is going to be on pit road, coming down, entering, and exiting. It is not going to be in the box. So that time you save by taking just a splash of fuel and not taking tires is not going to be as much as putting fresh tires on the car and taking a full tank and going faster. I think they're going to even out, and I think the balance lays in the side of the guys who take the more fuel and put fresh tires and go faster on the car.
Well, and there's your answer. Oh, man, there's the 2 of Will Roberts really trying to get that car woed up. Hold on to it, buddy.
Party there.
So now, working lap number 30, it'll be halfway next time by, and the field has cycled through. Thomas Bressie back to the race lead. He has a 1-second gap over Rob Ackley and Mike Stroll. And incredibly, we're not that far off from the next round of pit stops either. Coming at lap 20, stops came anywhere from lap 19, we'll say, to lap 24-ish. If you stopped at lap number 19, you're going to be looking at a stop at about lap 39 or 40. Good battle here. Justin Munsell, Brian Young, Tyler Hensley, Travis McQuistion making their way down the front straightaway. This is the fight for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Move up the inside by Hensley into turn number 2. Going to force Brian Young up to the outside, and he'll get that pass completed pretty easily. Looking at where we are in terms of schedule and season length here, there is an off week scheduled for next week, Patrick, but then we come back with the Dirt Double at Bristol, Charlotte, Watkins Glen, and the doubleheader at Darlington. Between April 18th and May 23rd, we're going to get almost half the season's worth of races in. Do you sort of have to play this one as get to the break in a good position, then get, really kind of neck deep in the grind? Because after that, the break for Memorial Day weekend, there's only 4 races that come after that.
Yeah, I would say you want to get yourself a good finish. You want to be high in the points. So during that off week, you can glance at the points and go, I'm in a really good spot. That helps build your momentum. It helps lift you up. And if you go into the next race happy and knowing you're doing good, you typically finish better than when you go, man, it's been a tough season. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then you start overthinking and really getting inside your head. And it's your opponent's job to get in your head. If you're getting in your own head, you're just making it easier for them.
Seeing this battle here, Daco Parka and Brian Keita fighting for the 18th position. Oh, man, we got to slide up here a little bit. Oh, Rob Ackley almost getting into the outside retaining wall at the exit of turn number 1. Mike Stroll going to be all over his back bumper. Is there some incentive here to trying to manipulate the draft a little bit to catch back up, or is it more important to get ahead of the car? Like if you're in Mike Stroll's shoes, do you want to sit behind and try to use the draft, or are you more concerned with get past and just try to make up that time on your own?
It depends. Do you like who's in front of you? If you like them, your buddies with them, they race you clean, I would say sit behind them, try and give them a little bump draft here or there, and try and catch up to Thomas Bresci in front of you. If you don't like him, well, I'd rather finish second to Thomas Bresci than give the guy I'm pushing a shot at winning this race. So it really just depends.
Taking a look at the season results here for Mike Stroll. After a 35th place finish at Daytona, 3rd at Kentucky in the rain-shortened event, followed by a 7th place finish 1 week ago at Monza, has him up 10 spots into a tie for 6th in the point standings. This is another run for Stroll. He really needs it. This is another good run for that car in a season where he's sort of playing catch-up right from the drop of the flag. Another guy who needed a good run this week was Alex Viccellio. Running 3rd at Monza when an unforced error had him in a last place finish, leaving a road course that he was really looking forward to. Dropped him 11 points in the standings back to 17th. This is a good shot for Viccellio to try to make a little bit of ground back up, currently running in the 6th position here this evening. Heading back up to this battle between Ackley and Stroll. They are now 2.5 seconds behind Thomas Bresci. And Bresci is about 2 to 3 tenths faster per lap than what Ackley has been over the last handful of laps. Down to 25 to go here. Is there a strategy call to make? What becomes the thought process here for guys like Ackley, Stroll, and Mikas? Do you just have to hope Bresci has a problem?
I don't think so. I think there's still enough time to try and make up ground and really get yourself back together. The biggest thing about this track is you got to build that rhythm. If you can get into a nice, smooth, consistent rhythm, when you hit lap traffic, just get through them cleanly, work with them, be predictable, I think you can make up that time. However, if you're unfocused, not hitting your marks, lap in, lap out, then yeah, your only hope is that he makes a major mistake.
Bresci getting a little bit of a tow here from lap traffic, as if he needs any more assistance tonight. Thomas Bresci has been impressive, and Lap car is doing a little bit of dancing squirrels in front of him here. Oh, man, chops the nose right off the middle of the corner. That's not what you want to see as a race leader.
No.
Ooh, wiggles off the wall a little bit there, too. Bresci saying, get me the hell out of here.
Bresci is probably going over the mic saying, hit your brakes, let me by. Probably frustrated with the lap cars right now.
Yes, and blue flags are a notification more than they are a command black flag or blue flag or a mandatory blue flag.
Yeah, he's still probably doing the Sebastian Vettel in the car going, blue flags, blue flags.
Let's slide back, pick up Blake Gordon and Alex Vicelio. This is the fight for the 5th position. You can see by the gaps on your screen, everybody is pretty well spaced out here. It's a half second, third of a second, and then some pretty substantial gaps as well throughout the entirety of the field. That's what a long green flag run will do, though, is especially when you factor in pit stops, guys that are quick in all aspects of the racetrack, tire management, fuel conservation, getting on and off of pit lane clean, hitting marks consistently in the corners. Your best drivers are going to come to the top of the field in those scenarios. Second round of pit stops is beginning. Hayden Pastorius in the number 9. He's on pit lane, stopping just short of the entrance to Gasoline Alley. Crew around to the left-hand side of the car. They will complete their work in 14.87 seconds. Fresh Goodyears, couple cans of Sunoco Racing Fuel. He is down and away. Back to this battle between Gordon and Vicelio. This is now where everybody else is in the hypothetical Paul Tracy danger zone. Now that Pastorius can make it to the end, obviously he would need a caution to happen like immediately, but he could be kind of in the catbird seat here if somebody screws up the entry to pit lane.
Yeah, although the way these guys are driving, and even though we've seen a couple close calls, we haven't seen a major hit entering pit lane. I don't know if you're really going to have that mess up. This is too professional of a field to do that. If we were watching a bunch of amateurs, sure, I'd say we'd have a caution. But my mind is sort of wavering to this is going to be a green flag to flag race.
Ooh, buddy. How about Rob Ackley trying to get on pit lane? Oh, one car into the wall. That's the 0-0 of Alex Vicelio.
I say these guys are professionals, and here they go flying into that inside wall. Although he looks like he recovered that pretty well. As long as he doesn't get the black flag, should just be a little bit of damage on the side. He should be ready to go back on the racetrack.
Man, that is a tough break there for Alex Vicelio. Back-to-back weeks with unforced errors that could take him out of a top 5 finishing position, as we are down to 20 laps to go with the world's greatest race course. Ackley now the driver, putting Thomas Bresci in the danger zone a little bit. And yeah, Bresci, he had to answer. And the yellow's out. Caution on the racetrack. Thomas Bresci is on pit lane. The question is, when did the yellow come out?
If he got past those green cones before the yellow came out, he can take his pit stop basically for free and come back out as the leader or very near to being the leader. However, if he got past those cones, it looks like he's pitting. He is good.
Is there damage on the front of that car? Front right corner. Or is that the paint job?
I don't believe there is any damage on that car. That panel still looks fairly straight.
Yeah, that's paint job. Okay.
Yep,
I was going to say, wow. All right, let's get a look here and see what happened to Matt Owens in the number 12. Owens in the car for Red Light Media tries to get the car woed up. Oh, he gets out onto the track side. Almost got into race leader Thomas Bressi. Wow, what a great move by Chad Mikas. But
Now,
that's what...
Can we back that up and see how close Bressi was past those yellow cones when the yellow flag came out? Let's see when the flagman starts waving it. Or when those lights go red. Those green lights right there, they'll turn red as soon as the caution comes out. There's Bressi coming down into the pit lane. Oh, he did not make it. Will that be a penalty for him?
Wow. Everybody else is coming down pit lane, including race leader Michael Stroll. Thomas Bressi is cycling through to the head of the field. Rob Ackley also coming in.
We'll have to see where Bressi comes out. Because if he does get that penalty, he can't serve that under yellow now. He has to wait for the green flag to come out and go down pit lane.
That's correct, because if he entered... Right, the penalty is not for stopping under yellow. The penalty is for entering a closed pit lane.
Are we able to pull him up into the booth and ask him if he is receiving a black flag or not?
Well, let's see. Let's talk to him here. Let's bring him up into the booth. Thomas Bressi, I'll tell you what, bud, that was incredibly close to getting on pit lane.
Did you make it past those yellow cones before the yellow came out?
Somehow, I did not get a penalty. I am still trying to find where the golden horseshoe or horseshoes are in my car. They've got to be somewhere, and someone just didn't tell me.
I was going to say, we looked at the replay, and that red light came on. It looked like a split second before you passed those cones, so...
Yeah, I was worried, and I saw him start sliding there, and there was something that told me, I was like, maybe you should not pit here, and I was... far enough in, I was like, I'm just gonna stay, I guess, and see what happens. But yeah, I got stupid lucky on that one. Ain't no way around it.
Well,
and lucky break for you there, bud.
I say the lucky breaks are good, but the car might be even better tonight. I guess you're feeling pretty happy here. You're going to be restarting this race from P1 with about 15 or so to go.
Yeah, and I think I've got a little tire advantage on some of these guys behind. Like, I think Ackley pitted already, Blake, not sure when Stroll pitted, so... but I think I might have a lap or two on a couple of these guys. If not, worst case, I'm even, because, you know, the caution just came out, so that's not bad at all. But just fingers crossed we go green at the end here and, you know, can get this one at the end.
All right, Thomas, thank you very much. We appreciate you checking in with us here, and...
he's the luckiest guy on this track because of how that caution came out. He is still your leader. That is a free pit stop right there. He's got fresh tires in the car. He's got a full tank of fuel. He can make it to the end, and he retained his spot in the lead without having to fight for it, without having to worry about who undercutted him or who's taking the overcut. He is golden right now.
Field is doubled up. The choose cone rule is in effect. Bressi and Stroll on row number 1. Ackley and Mikas on row 2. Gordon and Munsell on row number 3. Man, this is going to be intense. Down to just, it'll be 16 laps to go here at the start-finish line. And what the hey, let's do it one more time tonight. Race fans, you at home, y'all go ahead and crank it up. Oh, we've got a big pile up in the back of the field. Huge wreck out of turn number 2. Justin Morton is going to be involved in that one.
Oh, man.
Tyler Dulger also going to be involved. That was a mess. Getting off of turn 2. Take a look and show you the instant replay on this one. Oh, just a big wiggle there out of the 11. And then all hell breaks loose behind them. Several cars going to be involved. Will Roberts in the 2. Also, the 88 of Tyler Dulger involved in that, as is the 4 of Casey Shue.
And that was just an example of what you said before this race got underway. Turn 1, you hold it wide open basically until you see God. And that's exactly what happened. And unfortunately, God said, there's the wall, buddy.
Oh, man. Now we're going to have to redo this one all over again. And these guys are basically putting a heat cycle on the tires, having to catch the pace car. Or pace truck, as it were.
Thomas Bressi does not need to be going as fast as he is right now. Yes, you have to go faster than the pace car to catch it. But there is no need to rush it and get those tires super hot.
That's what I think a lot of what we're seeing here out of Mike Stroll and Thomas Bress and Rob Ackley, Chad Mikas, try to avoid the heat cycle on the tires as the field will get down and catch up to the iRacing safety truck as it gets to turn number 1. Seeing several cars having to come down pit lane, including Brandon Bernhardt and Casey Lakatos. See the stop machine to Chris Matthews still on pit lane. He's been there for 22 laps or so. Unfortunately, about the closest Brandon Bernhardt is going to get to victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway tonight is his pit stall just at the yard of bricks. And you could hear the car shut off, so it sounds like there will be some pretty significant repairs going on there to that machine. So now we have a situation of cautions breed cautions. Thomas Bressi was your race leader. Rob Ackley restarted in second. Mike Stroll taking the outside lane, allowing him to get the jump on Ackley, basically just starting a row ahead at the time of the caution. I would imagine if you're Mike Stroll, this is about as good of a chance as you're going to get to try to get around. Let's see if we can't sneak a word in here with Michael Stroll here as we circulate under the caution flag. And I'll tell you what, Michael, we were just mentioning the fact that this might be your best chance to try to get around Thomas Bressi. What are the thoughts here as we get ready to restart this thing, little over 10 to go?
My first thought was I really wish it would have went green. My strategy was going to take 2, take half, and run the last 10 laps, try to beat him to the line. But that didn't work out, so I think all I have to do is hope that Thomas makes a mistake here, and I can take advantage, because he's just a lot better than me right now. I'm trying to figure out what he's doing, so we'll see what happens here.
Interesting call, electing to start on the inside lane. We get another caution, it's almost going to lock you into third position. More concerned with being behind the race leader than the loss in track position?
I feel more confident being able to restart with Bressi when I'm behind him than alongside him. I always feel like the outside is a disadvantage, even though I just took it the last choose cone. It depends who you're racing around. I trusted Rob. I feel like I can pinch him down and hold him off. And, I'm going to try to restart with Thomas here and try to get that jump. Just like I did on the initial start with Ackley, I was able to get around him pretty quickly. So see what happens here. Hopefully Thomas makes a mistake, which he really does.
All right.
See if we can pick up a W.
Sounds good, buddy. Good luck the rest of the way here. Thank you very much for checking in with us. So there you go. Mike Stroll electing to take the inside lane. You wonder, I mean, it's not much of a heat cycle that Bressy's got on the tires now, but it's still a heat cycle.
Yeah, and every time you heat cycle those tires, they get harder and harder. Which, really not what you want. You want those tires to be super soft and stick to that racetrack and really just pull you around these corners. I can't emphasize it enough. These bricks with the big V8 at the front, they don't like to turn at the speedway.
No, they're not real friendly here. Gael Brooks maybe laying back just a little bit. He's going to get tucked up in line. Field makes its way off of turn number 4. It'll be 12 laps to go. Thomas Bressy leads the field. Stroll able to tuck back in line. Ackley's going to need a shove from Blake Gordon here, and he may not get it. Side-by-side battle for second into one. Stroll will have the position. Ackley trying to fight back on the outside of the racetrack. Great battle, 2x2 down the backstretch of the world's greatest race course. And this is about everything Thomas Bressy wanted to see in his rearview mirror. Everybody quick, lined up behind him and not giving an inch on this final, what they hope is the final restart.
These guys are starting to get racy now. You can see how close this field is. Just single file, one by one, all behind them. They are going to start really getting aggressive and bumping and trying to pass each other as these laps tick down. Thomas Bressy has run away with this one, but don't count anyone out yet. And really, don't count anyone else out until turn 4, the last lap, or we could possibly end up with another JR.
2011, J.R. Hildebrand trying to pass Charlie Kimball in turn 4, basically in sight of the checkered flag. Pounds the outside wall, handing the win to the late Dan Weldon. His final IndyCar win coming at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the greatest spectacle in racing. Thomas Bressy trying to put on as big of a show, but in a different way here tonight, and he has done it so far. I don't know that there are enough superlatives to describe what Bressy has done tonight. After we said the same thing 1 week ago, how impressive he was at Monza. Everybody behind Bressy, still single file all the way back through 16th place Cal Filarski. Nice recovery there. Filarski able to get back on the lead lap. Trying to turn this into a pretty good run here on Primate Pest Elimination Night for the Fuel Premier Series. Gael Brooks having a peek here on Justin Munsell. It's amazing. This place feels big. It feels wide. And then you start to drive the corners and you figure out how it's really not, in any way, shape, or form, a wide racetrack. Even if you're running the high lane, you're only about a car width and a half off the very bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, this track might physically be wide, but the actual raceable asphalt is not wide at all. You have to use every inch of this place to be able to go fast. the real goal here is making those short chutes as curved as possible. If you have to exit low or you have to enter the corners high, you're making those short chutes straight, you're making them straight, and then you're forced with two 90-degree corners instead of one big sweeping 180-degree corner. And it's very, very hard to get right here.
And I'll tell you what here, Patrick, but the gap is holding steady. Not much of a gain for Thomas Bressi that last time by. 0.04 of a second was the lap difference. Fourth place, Chad Mikas, actually 1/100th of a second quicker than race leader Thomas Bressi. At this point, though, you've got to eat tenths. Right, that's what I'm saying. You've got to be eating tenths of a second if you want to have a shot at Thomas Bressi. You can't be losing like they saw down the backstretch, losing 1/10.5.
And the hardest part is the whole pack is so far behind Thomas Bressi that even if you make your way to the front of the pack, you're not going to be in his draft to catch him. You have to be hitting your marks better than Thomas Bressi is hitting his marks. Really, if we stay green and Thomas Bressi doesn't make a mistake, he's already won the race.
Kind of feels like that's what it's going to boil down to is, does Bressi make a mistake? I mean, the gap's now up over 1.3 seconds as the field heads down the backstretch.
And we heard my strategy call earlier, and all these drivers come in. I know most of these guys have broadcasts on the background, so we just ramped the pressure on Thomas Bressi up 1,000,000 times because I know he's listening.
You can email the hate mail, Mr. Bressi, to patrick.byrne@nationalracingnetwork.com. Oh, we've got one car hard into the outside wall. That's black right around Brian Young.
Saves it. They all keep it together. We are going to stay green. Thomas Bressi might need a new pair of pants after he heard you call that one.
Man, we had 2 or 3 cars big time into the safer barrier off of turn number 4. And the action might not be over yet as Hayden Pistorius looking to the inside of Brian Young off of turn 2. Travis McQuistion trying to get around Blake Gordon as well. The race is very much not over yet, and we do have overtime in the cards. If we get to that point, do you make a pit stop? I think we stumped the crew chief. I mean, you would have to think if you're Thomas Bressi, the field's going to do whatever you don't. But you can't give up the track position, or at least most of the field is going to do what you don't.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is trying to take that risk of, hey, you're doing this, I'm going to do the opposite. One of our strategies is going to be right.
Well, the problem is you still have 25 cars on the lead lap. So even if 2 through 10 come down pit lane for tires, that's still a boatload of race cars that they're going to have to get past. It almost feels like you've got the hand you were dealt at this point as we're down to 3 to go. Man, great corner entry there for Chad Mikas. Stroll trying to break the draft a little bit down the back straightaway. Ackley's going to be right there. Doesn't attempt the move into 3. And that little bit of a back off brings Chad Mikas up to his bumper. Two to go. Thomas Bressi with a 1 1/4 second lead It's shrinking, but not nearly fast enough. And especially if Ackley and Stroll are going to get racy. We'll see that lead open right back up. But yeah, we just saw it there through turns 1 and 2. Stroll down to the inside of the racetrack. Ackley keeping the momentum up. Now he's going to dive down to the inside into 3. Stroll has to run the high line. That's going to allow Ackley to get to his inside. Chad Mikas appears like he's going to go with him. Down the front straightaway, white flag is in the air. 1 lap to go at Indianapolis. This is the battle for second, now almost 2 seconds behind race leader Thomas Bressi. Ackley stays to the inside. Stroll tries to keep that car pointed down. He gets the big run off the corner.
Man.
Now Stroll to the inside of the racetrack. He may lose third to Chad Mikas.
Yeah, Stroll got real loose coming off of turn 2. That just killed his whole run he had built up.
Through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Thomas Bressi checking out. Everybody else going to be single file. Down the front straightaway, checkered flag is in the air. Thomas Bressi gets the win at Indianapolis. Rob Ackley going to come home second. Chad Mikas third. But what a run. Absolutely dominating performance for Thomas Bressi. That was impressive. And in the span of, what, a lap and a half, Mike Stroll comes from a second place run to come home in the 4th position. Take a look at your race results. Thomas Bressi getting the win by 1.8 seconds over Rob Ackley. Chad Mikas, Mike Stroll, and Tyler Hensley complete your top 5. Travis McQuistion 6th. Blake Gordon coming home in 7th. Gael Brooks 8th. Nice run for Joe Dinsmore up into the 9th position. And 10th is Justin Munsell. Finian Dakuda, Brent Kusick, Hayden Pastorius, Brian Young, Kyle Cooper back through the 15th position. Cal Filarski, Daco Parka, Rich Engel, Brian Keita, and Brandon Wengard back through the 20th position. 21st to Brandon Bernhardt, 22nd Casey Lakados, Will Roberts 23rd, 24th Tyler Dulger, and in 25th is Casey Shue. First car 1 lap down, Alex Ficellio in 26th, Matt Owens 27th, John Gervin 28th, Don Runkle Jr. 29th, and Andrew Schaub back through the 30th position. Justin Morton 31st, Chris Matthews 32nd, and Zach Edwards did not start here this evening. Donuts just shy of the yard of bricks. For your race winner tonight, Thomas Bressi. Absolutely impressive drive here tonight. Get our Victory Lane interviews ready to roll here in just a second. And we'll start things off tonight with a guy who was, well, dominant is one way of saying it, but absolutely monster run tonight for Thomas Bressi. Congratulations, back-to-back wins, picking up the Fuel 5 bonus money. You got all the bonus points. What else? What did you not get tonight here, Thomas? Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. I gotta, I guess, thank my lucky stars about the pit road deal, and I was waiting that whole last run for a caution or something. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get lucky and get all the way to the end, because I knew if a yellow came out, I was gonna be screwed. But yeah, I was so nervous at the end there when the white flag popped up going down the front stretch. My heart just stopped. I was like, oh God, there's a yellow, and then I realized it was a white flag, so it was okay. But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. I don't actually know if I've won back-to-back races in Premier before, so I guess first for that too. So that's fun. But yeah, just happy we were able to get another win here tonight, and pick up a good chunk of points doing it, and obviously win the Fuel 5. I thought maybe the last time we did it, I could have maybe gotten there, but obviously we had the rain, as we'll call it, so didn't have the chance. But happy to get it done tonight, and yeah, just had a good race. I'm happy with that, and I wish we were still coming here, in real life. I love this place, and I mean, if the paint schemes and stuff weren't a giveaway, this is a place that is kind of special. So, always good to get a win here, and put the 24 victory lane here is pretty cool too.
Well, it adds some more superlatives to it. You're the first race winner in the Fuel Premier Series in the B-Class cars, and you're the new track record holder for the B-Class cars here at the Speedway. So it's got to mean a little bit more, I guess, and we talked about it in the pre-race a little bit. Words don't necessarily describe what Indianapolis is, and it comes to mind Al Unser Jr.'s Victory Lane interview with Jack Arute saying, you just don't know what Indy means.
You just don't know what Indy means.
What does Indy mean to you?
I mean, obviously, this isn't real Indy. Obviously, this is quite a bit different. But I've been watching racing. NASCAR especially since I was like 4. So I know Indy, and especially as I've gotten older and started following more forms of racing. The meaning of Indy, I think, has become even more special, and I think it's just really cool. And I think especially here, like on the sim, you get an opportunity to kind of experience what it takes to win at some of these racetracks, and kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning, where it's kind of like a road course when you've just got to be so perfect with everything. And I feel like maybe that's because I wasn't a lot faster than the guys behind. Like Stroll was definitely keeping me fairly honest, but I didn't have a lot on him. But just kind of knowing how to use the track and what space you have, and just being super careful with your inputs and things. And it just, especially like that last run of the checkered, I felt like I was running qualifying laps the whole time. And you've got to be perfect, I think, to do well here. And I'm not trying to, say I'm perfect or anything like that, but it's just, it's hard. And especially here in Fuel with such a good group of guys. And it sounded like I missed out on the fun there for second there at the end. So that sounded like it was a good battle. So I think that kind of proves the point that it's hard to win these things. And yeah, just really happy. That's all.
Well, as we head into the off week, what was a 9-point lead is now a 22-point lead over a new second-place driver as well, Blake Gordon, moving up 1 spot in the points. That's got to be pretty big here, too, because after the off week, we hit a stretch of like 7 races in 5 weeks or 6 races in 8 weeks, whatever it is. It is a big stretch through the months of April and May.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the other thing around this time of the season, usually like race 3, 4, maybe 5 kind of, is when you really start seeing, the cream rise to the top and who's really going to be kind of your title contenders. At least that's, the points are still really tight, but the trend in Fuel in the past, you kind of start seeing who it's going to be pretty early in the year. So, I'm not surprised by guys like Blake moving up. As the season kind of starts to settle in a little bit more, you just sort of see the trends and where people are going. So, Yeah, it's gonna be a busy couple weeks. Kind of glad we're off next week because I'm gonna be trying the Nürburgring 24 next this coming weekend. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, it's gonna be busy and got dirt coming up, which I think that'll be my 100th start here. So that's a fantastic place to do that. So uh, yeah, no, but it's good. Yeah, definitely going to be a busy middle portion of the year, but looking forward to it for sure.
Well, congratulations on picking up another pretty dominant win. Not pretty dominant, very dominant win in the Fuel Premier Series. And let's make sure we let you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, I mean, no sponsors or anything, just me, myself, and I, and of course, want to give a shout out to the JT Motorsports guys. Tyler got himself another top 5 tonight, so proud of him for that. And Casey, I think, was maybe on track for a decent result, and then I think got caught up in that wreck on that one restart, so tough deal for him. But yeah, appreciate all the admin staff, of course, for doing everything that they do and making things run smoothly, and of course you guys for putting on a good broadcast and being so in tune with everything going on in the league. It's really cool to see, and I think the product kind of speaks for itself, and it's really fun to be a part of.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate those kind words, and I'm not seeing Rob Ackley here in the room. Patrick, if you see him, hopefully you can drag him around, but let's pick up our third place finisher tonight here. Coming to the white flag, he was running fourth, got a very nice third place finish out of the deal tonight. Chad Mikas, congratulations, bud. That was a very nice run. Looked like you may have had the fastest car on the racetrack over that last run.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. It's about time you got a podium here. It's crazy. I wasn't expecting to have the speed that I did. Obviously, me and Stroll were, I think, one of the top 3 in practice. So I was kind of expecting to have some sort of speed, not so much on the long run, but for whatever reason, I was able to kind of keep the tires on it for a change and, kind of work myself through the pack. The first run for sure, I knew, that I had something for everybody at the end if I just kept the nose clean and, can maneuver around traffic. So, yeah, it was pretty wild. I didn't expect that battle there at the end. It was fun, to say the least, battling a teammate and the 22 there. Yeah, I'm sweating, man. I can't believe we pulled one off there in the last lap. So I think if we didn't have that caution, it probably would have shook things up. I probably wouldn't have been top 3. I probably would have gotten the top 5, if we had that long run there. But I'll take it, man. I'm happy with the way I ran tonight for sure.
It looked like it was a lot of fun. The restarts were pretty interesting because without seeing you on the front row, we didn't necessarily know what you might have been capable of from the very pointy end of the field. How does that play into your head strategy-wise of I've got to try to make up the ground on the restarts at a track that's kind of a groove and a half wide?
Yeah, my concern was lining up side by side with Stroll there. I didn't want to totally mess his race up because we're teammates and, we had a good run going and, we didn't want to give it up to the cars behind us because we both had speed and, I think we're pretty well capable of running the 24 down if we had the proper run. But, yeah, I really thought about going to the top that last restart, but I knew the bottom was going to be the place to be. Especially off corner, if you had a good run going in, you just flew by the guys who were, a lane and a half, up towards the outside there. So, yeah, it's a bummer. I didn't quite get to where I thought I could have been. I think we were definitely P2 tonight for sure on speed. But some races are like that. I'm just thankful I got to finish one without getting destroyed. So.
You're talking about finishing one without getting destroyed, but you're now up 2 spots to run 6th in points. 44 back of the points leader, Thomas Bressi, but we've only got like 25 points separating 2nd through 6th. What is the mental game like for you as we head into the off week and then we go doubleheader at Bristol, long one at Charlotte, Watkins Glen, doubleheader at Darlington, Richmond and Talladega in the span of, 8 weeks or whatever it is. There's a whole lot of racing coming up here, and sometimes I'm thinking places like Bristol, Darlington, you don't necessarily control your own destiny there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to be missing Bristol, the doubleheader. You got some other things going on here, but the rest of the schedule, I think, definitely is going to be some stronger races for me. I do like Charlotte. I haven't run there in quite some time, but Watkins gone for whatever reason, and this car is just really, really good to me. And for some reason, I have a little bit of speed. I haven't always been a road course guy, but I do the iRacing 24, Daytona 24 every year to kind of get me some road course laps and seat time. And I always run Watkins Glen when they're up on the service. So I'm excited for that. Richmond's going to probably be a tough one for me. I like the short tracks, but it hasn't quite clicked for me yet there. And then Talladega, it's Talladega. It's anybody's ball game there. But we showed last year we can make it work by ourselves at the end. So hopefully, we just continue this momentum, stay, finish strong. I'd love to go out and just totally dominate and win races, but top threes, top fives, are good for me, man. That's kind of my goal moving forward here. As we close up and to the end of the season. So it's going to be a tough one catching the 24 in points since he's so far ahead, but second's not bad too. So we're just going to keep doing our thing.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations once again on the podium finish here tonight, and looking forward to seeing you, I guess, in 2 weeks since you won't be back for Bristol. But hopefully you enjoy the short respite here away from the sim, and let's make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in before we let you out of here.
Oh, of course. First off, I'd like to thank my teammate, Michael Stroll. We've been working together here for the last, I think it's been a year and a half now. I don't even know. It's just we've clicked right from the get-go. It's definitely helped me become a better race car driver, or sim race car driver, I should say. So I got to thank him. DIR, all of our teammates, Brent, John. I know I'm missing people here. I think there were just 4 of us tonight. Big Evil Designs, my design gig there. Give us a shout out. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, all that for your sim racing design needs. Valvoline, they like all my stuff on Twitter. Big Valvoline fan, so obviously gonna shout them out. Everybody who's watching, friends, family, and of course you guys, man. Your broadcasts have been top notch. I cannot believe it. You have outdone anything I think I've seen before, and I'm not just saying that. So I appreciate everything you're doing, Chris. You're doing a hell of a job. It's really fun to go back and watch these races. You make it way more enjoyable than just watching cars go in circles all day. So I really thank you for doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you much, sir. We appreciate it, and I know Patrick does too. And well, we'll come back and we'll talk to the partner in crime here on the booth. And man, I'll tell you what, bud, we got kind of what you would expect out of a race at Indianapolis. A lot of green flag runs, action throughout the field, little bit of chaos maybe. This was fun. Typical Indy, typical fun.
I want to go back to what Thomas Bressy said and what you said about how much Indy means. You just don't know what Indy means. I remember when Sebastian Kinder, one of our guys, won at Indy, he went on a face cam with us and poured a bottle of milk over his head, and he lives in France. I remember my first win here at Indy on the simulator. It was during the TNT event. My first run in TNT Indy came in Lotus 49. I had a 5-lap lead on the field. I was going to win the race. And then I had a computer issue take me out of it. I ended up finishing second. Full reboot of my computer, got back in the sim, and still finished second by about half a lap. That's how much of a lead I had, and that absolutely killed me, and that's always been my luck at Indy. I remember I won here in the PM18s, and even though it's just a sim, it's still Indy. This track has haunted me for the last 6 years of sim racing now, 6-7 years maybe of sim racing. When I won, it was just the most blissful feeling I've ever had in sim racing or any real life racing. I pretty sure I yelled. Pretty sure my mother called me, said, "Quiet down. Everyone's trying to sleep." It was euphoric, and being at this track in person is just a feeling I can't describe. There is something special about this track. I hate driving this track. I'm not sure many people enjoy driving this track, but winning here is the best feeling in the world just because of how difficult it is, how much you don't like driving it. Being able to win here just is something else.
Well, and I tell you what, we have one more interview to do here. Let's bring in. Gotta find him here. There he is, Mr. Cal Falarski, our hard charger of the race tonight, presented by Primate Pest Elimination. Your brother's birthday, your sponsor in the race, name's on the car, and you pick up the award for hard charger. Congratulations on that one tonight. I honest to God didn't think you had a shot at it after the issue you had on pit road. Tell us, how did you come back from a lap down and put yourself in a position to be hard charger?
You know, I'd be lying if I said anything other than I just drove pissed off the last half of that race.
Seeing red makes you go faster.
Yeah, I should do it more often apparently. You know, started dead last because I brushed the wall coming off for my qualifying lap. I was telling one of the other admins, Mike Stroll, that I felt good about tonight. You know, got my brother's company colors on the car, sponsoring the race and all that, and you know, just looking forward to running well. And then I brushed the wall and figured, all right, well, time to drive like a bat out of hell. Got caught speeding on pit road on the way in and just was absolutely beside myself, and then was just praying for a caution, and it came out, and then I started praying for another caution so I could get caught back up to everybody. And from there I just had a nice battle with Kyle Cooper. Just didn't have it in me to try and put the bumper to him too much on that last lap, so kudos to him for the top 15 finish. But proud of the rest of the PMS team, and thanks to my brother, and happy birthday thanks for the sponsorship this week.
You know what? Those races are ones that you look back on and go, enjoyable, maybe not so much, but definitely fun in an odd way. It's like they stick in your head. You make a mistake, and then you overcome things and put yourself back in a pretty good position. Obviously going to enjoy the week off here, but what are your thoughts heading off to Bristol for the doubleheader here in a couple of weeks?
My next 2 weeks, I gotta find some time to figure out how to turn left while turning the wheel right. I'm not very good on dirt. All my teammates can attest to that. But we'll see if we can try and figure something out and put together at least a respectable run, and just try and stay within striking distance as far as the points are concerned, and take advantage when we come to a couple tracks we feel good about.
Well, I'll tell you what, bud, the Primate Pest Elimination number 6 Ford Mustang looked pretty darn good tonight. Seeing you there trying not to get the bumper to the 73 is pretty epic. Congratulations on picking up the Primate Pest Elimination Hard Charger Award, and hopefully we're talking to you again with a podium here in a few weeks.
It would be my absolute pleasure. You can count on that.
Well, and before we let you go here, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Just Primate Pest Elimination, one of the premier pest control companies that serving Los Angeles County. My brother's one of the best guys I know, and I don't just say that as his brother, but as someone who's known him for a very long time. He's a excellent businessman and very upstanding and full of integrity. So give him a shot if you're ever in the area and need some pest elimination help. As far as the team's concerned, thanks for the good times to Travis and Gael, Tyler, Chris and Don, and Joe that was hanging out in our chat as well. And happy birthday to my brother. Hi to mom and dad. And hopefully my 5-week-old is sleeping soundly tonight.
Congratulations, brother. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. So there you go. I guess it is now time for us to wrap things up here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I love getting to call races here. Just something about, I see Indy on the schedule and I get giddy. Hopefully some more news coming out of the National Racing Network here on that front in the very near future. But with that, it is time for us to get out of here. Big week of racing coming up tomorrow night. The Stars and Cars of the TNT Series head back to the NRN airwaves with a visit to USA International after the officials ran there 1 week ago. The PM18s for the TNT series head off there tomorrow night. You can catch that one at 10:15 Eastern Daylight Time. Coming up on Thursday, we're back to the triple header again. The High Side Hustle at 7, the Ezra IndyCar Series at 8:30 p.m. in the East, followed up by the Indy Pro 2000 Championship at 10:15. By the way, TNT is a 9 o'clock start time for the green flag time for that one coming up tomorrow night. But with that, we are getting out of here. For everybody here at the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. It has been a pleasure to have you hanging out with us, and we look forward to talking to you all soon. Until then, have a great night, everybody.